What makes a great main character? This has been a topic of discussion for as long as the media has ever existed. What makes one main character just decent? And what makes other main character more likable than the other? And what makes one main character memorable and stand out? I don't want to make this only my opinion as usual. That's why a few months ago, in my other channel and in my Discord, I asked my viewers what is their favorite main character and why do they love them. And thanks to everyone that responds to the question, we can get a few characteristics that make a great main character. And let's start with a classic example. There was a book written by Lajos Egri, a Hungarian-American playwright. The Art of Dramatic Writing introduces the concept of character development through contradiction. He argues that true character comes from contradiction and conflict. And through this conflict, a character can grow, learn, and be relatable to the audience. Egri mentioned that flawed characters can emphasize this trait even more. He gives an example as a stool pigeon character, meaning that if a character has no conflict or flaw whatsoever, the character will never decisively do anything, just like a stool pigeon. I'm looking at you, Jinwoo. And when the character overcomes their conflict and their internal contradictions, Egri considers that as a strong character. Some of you mentioned Shoya Ishida from A Silent Voice, a character that is flawed, hurted, and fighting with his own internal conflict. Some of you relate to the pain he went through, and some of you admired how Ishida overcome his struggle and become a better person. Those what makes Ishida a very admirable character. He doesn't shy away from his weakness, but he embraces it and learns from it. His growth as a character is something that you can relate to. You can feel what he went through, and then you cheered for him. If you can empathize with the character you are watching, that is a sign you are looking at the character with good writing. Another book that is written by Christopher Vogler, an author and screenwriter, outlines three main ideas for modern character storytelling: a clear goal, character transformation, and facing trials. We already went through the last two, but we haven't talked about the first one. Vogler defines that the protagonist needs both conscious and unconscious goal. A conscious goal usually refers to the main objective of the main character, and it is often introduced in the very beginning of the series. In One Piece, Luffy wants to be the king of the pirates, and we obviously know that because he keeps repeating it again and again and throughout the entire series. And the same way we know that Naruto wants to be a Hokage. These are the main characters' conscious goals, and in some series like One Piece and Naruto, they say it out loud to make it very clear to us what the main character wants to be. But Vogler also outlines the unconscious goal. A goal that involves a character's emotional feeling. Whether the character is healing from a wound in his past or overcoming his biggest fear, anything that involves fulfilling the main character's inner self is defined as unconscious goal. Vogler describes that in order to be a great main protagonist, they need to have these two goals. Conscious goal to drive the plot and unconscious goal to drive the character's growth. And this absolutely makes sense. I don't really like seeing a character who is seemingly not sure about themselves. Probably you can point to some main character, and that ended up making the whole series a lot less enjoyable. And we are not talking about a grand goal like banish evil and save the world, but a goal that is more grounded, like fighting for a person that you love, is also works. There is a beauty when you are willing to go far and beyond just for the sake of your partner. Well, maybe in most cases it's not officially a partner yet. But even if, what Yamoriko did for Nazuna from Call of the Night just does exactly that. And I agree, just as explained by Heavenly Curse, even though Yamori is not a fan of going out at night alone, but he is willing to overcome his fear of the night just to be with Nazuna. And that drives him to break out from his comfort zone just to be together with someone that he loves. That checks both conscious and unconscious goals as mentioned by Vogler. Because most of the other books and papers that I read also mention the same points, so I think quoting from these two books is enough reference for this case. I also don't want to bore you by lecturing about character writing, but I hope we all now know the baseline and foundation on making a great main character. And while every one of you also have a character in mind who fits on this term, the one character that I will talk about in this video will probably the name that you least expected. And I would argue, she is the best amongst all of them. Oguri. Oguri is a name that you might not expect when it comes to this conversation, but hear me out, watch this video until the end and you might also be convinced that she is one of the best main characters in anime. Oguri is from a series called Musume, specifically the latest entry of the series, Cinderella Grey. If I rewind about 4 or 5 months ago, maybe I have to explain in detail what Musume is, but since the game's global release, I think everyone has already heard of Musume, so I don't have to explain that much about it. But in very short, Musume is a horse racing turned into an anime girl that reflects the actual horse in real life. Most character that you see on Musume is an actual horse, and everything that mostly happens in both the anime and the game actually happens in real life. Except after racing, they don't immediately become an idol. Or maybe, I don't know. But I'm going to talk less about the anime or the game or the series itself, but what I'm going to highlight is why I think Oguri is the perfect main character. Well, she is not someone that looks perfect in the beginning. She is, let's say, a bit special. She is the type of guy in your friend group that arrives an hour after the time you are supposed to show up. And also the type of people that screws up every first impression. Maybe you thought this is just a skit, a bit of comedy. But for me, this shows us that Oguri has already locked in. From the very second she steps into the class, you already know why she came here. Oguri did not care about anything as long as she could keep running. She runs in the morning, she runs in the evening, and even runs before we even get to know her. She knows what she is really good at and doesn't care for anything else. But her motivation for running maybe came from another story. Oguri came from a poor family, and even worse, nobody expected her to become a runner. Oguri was born with a problem with her knee that makes her not suitable for running. That's why the way she runs is slightly bent forward because of her knee. Even Oguri almost accepted the fact that she couldn't run again, but her mother believed in the other fate. Her mother is the only person that didn't give up on her. She gave Oguri a massage on her knees every day, giving her encouragement to keep running and be herself. Oguri herself knows that her mother is struggling, but her mother always believes in her, and doing everything she can to make her dream come true. Maybe for Oguri it's a mix of her love for her mother and excitement joining a school that she always wants to. Maybe for every step that she runs, she always remembers how her mother put a lot of faith in her. Behind her innocent personality and behind her zero sense of direction, her mother is the reason why Oguri keeps running. But is it really because of her mother? This is the only thing that has not been explained to us. Why is Oguri so passionate about running? Why is she pushing herself to train every single morning ahead of everyone? If her mother really is the answer, why doesn't she answer her mother when she is asked by her rival? She is still unsure the reason why she agreed to join a team, or why she has to win a race, or why she is aiming for the biggest tournament in Japan. And this is a problem. We already know that having a goal is crucial, but for now, every step that Oguri takes is still shallow, is still empty. If you lay out the most iconic main character, not only in anime, what do they have in common? Yup, their goal came within themselves. Frieren with her journey, Luffy with his crew, Naruto with his ambition, every single one of them fight for themselves. That is why they are iconic. That is why following their steps is meaningful. All this time, Oguri is only being told by her mother, by her trainer, by her friends to do this, to race that, to train that, and not until the moment when she is confronted by her rival, she now realized that she has to find her own motivation. And this is my favorite part of her story. In the beginning, the reason why Oguri loves running is because of her family. But every friend she made, every race she won, and every race she lost, she slowly realizes something. She realized something that has been missing from the day she committed herself to running. It's like she gathers pieces of herself in every race that she ran. And we started not only seeing her race as a part of this huge story of her becoming the champion, but also her journey to finding herself. We started seeing every race as her own personal development. We put less care into making Oguri win every single race, but I care about how she won it or what she does after she lost. I care about her more than the race, more than the tournament she is competing in. Because in the end, no matter what she does, we are here to cheer for her. This is why Fogler says that a main character has to have conscious and unconscious goal. And he is right. Having both of them makes the character complete. And when the character is complete, the rest is easily subjective. Okay, there is nothing shy about feeling subjective towards something. If someone says that I like Sword Art Online because it's the first anime that I watch, well, that is really a subjective reasoning and we can't do anything about it. And I have the same reason towards Oguri. I'm really a sucker from a zero to hero story. Probably you can tell by all the clips that I've shown you in this video. But Oguri's story is really different from the others. Someone that is coming out of town, out of equation that has no other perks than working hard on the only thing that she knows. She has no backup whatsoever and that didn't hold her back from keeping going forward. Also, I really like her positive attitude and zero care towards the others. She doesn't care that she looks weird to the others because she does things that normally people wouldn't do. And the thing that makes me crack up is when she is told to sleep in a warehouse, an old dusty warehouse, but she doesn't care at all and still makes her happy. And even in the end, her rivals and her bullies ended up supporting her because she is that likable. And talking about her friends, I also want to talk about the supporting cast in this anime. Hands down the most likable, supportive, and the most well taken care of in anime I have ever seen. Every single one of them is important to Oguri, and you cannot dismiss them because they make Oguri better as a character. Her classmate is the first one that encouraged her to keep on going. Her trainer massively decides her career and her friends keep cheering for her, even though she is miles away from them. They gave care and their own development without overshadowing Oguri as the main character. And it is getting better in the second season. It's where we see one of the best rivalries made in anime. Oguri and March in season 1 is a good rival, but Oguri and Tamamo Cross is something special. Both of them has a very polar personality. Oguri is more laid back, calm, and straightforward, while Tamamo is more expressive and loud, and sometimes having a trouble to express herself. They are a complete opposite on the surface, but when you look closer, they also have a lot of similarities. Both of them came from rural towns, and everyone underestimated them from the very beginning. Even Tamamo herself can sense the familiarity in Oguri before meeting her and even before they race each other. And this makes them understand each other in a level that nobody could understand. Even though they are explosive and rivals on the pitch, but after the race, they become friends again. Their rivalries are built on respect, are built on desire to be better. Tamamo sees Oguri as her junior and doesn't want her to lose. And Oguri sees Tamamo as someone special, someone that she idolizes and she has to catch up to. Oguri learns what it means to run, to fight for, to reach something, while Tamamo learns what it means to run freely, and they got their message from each other. It's honestly impossible to like her without also liking her friend, and Oguri will not be the same without them. Since you guys already know why I love Oguri so much, now honestly I also want to know what is your favorite main character. You can mention them in the comments down below, and while you are at it, if you want more videos like this, you can also support me by subscribing and liking this video. If you want to be featured in my channel, you can join our Discord server in the description down below. And once again, thank you so much for watching the video until the very end, and have a wonderful Christmas and New Year's holiday. And see you guys in my next video.